I hope that you are well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 2 English lesson on alphabetical order. And before we start with our lesson on alphabetical order, we're going to log into aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca, with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 2. Once we've selected the subject of language arts, grade 2, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of alphabetical order. All right, so alphabetical order, that is basically our subject for today. So our chapter is alphabetical order. Our subject is English, which is language arts, grade 2. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on today under the chapter of alphabetical order is to order alphabetically based on the first letter. And we're going to go over that today. We're also going to order alphabetically based on the first 2 letters. And we're going to order alphabetically based on the first 3 letters. So that is going to be our lessons today under the chapter of alphabetical order. All right, so when it comes to alphabetical order, right, then the first thing that comes to our mind needs to be the alphabet, right? So you need to know the alphabet in order to put words alphabetically in order. So to put words in alphabetical order, we use the alphabet, starting with A and going all the way to Z, right? So you need to know the alphabet in order for us to be able to put certain things in alphabetical order. And alphabetical order ranges from A to Z. So first, we put the words in order by first letter, right? So you need to first look at the first letter of each word in order for us to put those words in order. For example, if we look at the first word, which is bed, right? So the first letter of bed is with a B. And then we have pie, right? And the first letter of pie starts with a P. And then we have ran, and the first letter of ran starts with an R. So if we look at our alphabet, right? Then we first have B, then we have P, then we have R, which means that this is already put in alphabetical order. So it's first bed, then we have pie, and then we have ran, based on the first letter of each word. But like I say, you need to know your alphabet in order for you to be able to put these words in alphabetical order. And then if words share the first letter, right? So if words share the first letter, then we need to basically look at the second letter of each of those words, right? In order to put them in order. So if you need to put certain words in order, but all of the words, they start, for example, with B, right? So for example, all of the words starts with B, like for example, bed, born, or brown, right? Then we need to look at the second letter. Then we need to look at the second letter. For example, E, O, R. So now if we go to our alphabet, right? We first have the letter E, then we have the letter O, then we have the letter R, which means that if we were to put these words in alphabetical order, which they are already, then it's going to be bed because of BE. Then it's going to be born because of BO. And then it's going to be brown because of BR. So this way you'll still be able to find or still be able to put the words in order, right? By looking at the second letter of that specific word. Because if the first letter of a word, all other letters, all of the words, they start with the first letter, which is the same, then you need to look at the second letter, and the second letters will tell you when or how to put it in alphabetical order. But then if we have a case, right, where words, they share the same first and second letter, right? Then we need to then use the third letter and so on and so on. For example, bed, right? We have bed, we have bow, and we have best. So which means that all of these three words, the first two words are BE, as you can see for bed, BE for bow, BE for best, right? Which means that if we want to put these words in alphabetical order, we cannot just look at the first letter. because all of the first letters are the same. We cannot look at the second letter because the first and the second letters are the same. Then we need to look at the third letter. And in this case, bed, it's with a D. The third letter of bed is with a D. The third letter of bell is with an L. And the third letter of best is with an S, right? Which means that D comes before L and L comes before S, right? Which means that these three words are already in alphabetical order, right? So it is bed, it is bell, and it is best. So that is basically how we put certain words in alphabetical order. And in order for us to put words in alphabetical order, you need to also know how to use the alphabet. So you need to know your alphabet, meaning you need to know from A to Z, the order. And we basically use our alphabet in order to put the words in order. And we said that we first put the words in order by the first letter. So you can either first look at the first specific letter. So if say if you have 3 or 4 words and all of the words are different, all of the first words are different from each of those words, or the first letters are different from each of those words, then you put it in alphabetical order based on the first letter. If the words share the first letter, then you use the second letter to put them in order. And we made an example of bed, born, and brown because all of the first letters are the same. So we had to make use of the second letter in order to put it in order. And if the words share the first and the second letters, right? Then we need to use the third letters and so on. But remember, to put the words in alphabetical order, we need to use the alphabet. And in order for us to use the alphabet, you need to know the alphabet in order from A to Z. And we are doing our tutorial lesson on a+students.ca. All right, so we're going to the first one. Our chapter is alphabetical order. And we're going to the first lesson, which is to order alphabetically based on the first letter. And we already made mention of, to put the words in alphabetical order, we need to use the alphabet, which is A to Z. And then first, we put the words in order by the first letter. And if words share the first letter, then we use the second letter to put them in order. And if words share the first and second letters, then we use the third letters, and so on and so on. All right, so now we're going to put these words in alphabetical order. We need to put the words 11, greedy, and character in alphabetical order. And if you look at those words, right, all three of those words, they start with a different letter, which means that we are going to put those words in alphabetical order by looking at the first letter. So we're going to look at the first letter and we're going to use the first letter of each one of those words to put the words in alphabetical order. All right, so we have 11, starting with an E. There we have E. We have greedy, which starts with a G. And then we have character, which starts with a C. So if we look at those letters that I've underlined, which one comes first? Is it E for 11, G for greedy, or C for character? And if we look at our letters that we've underlined, we can say C comes first, which means that we need to put character first. Then E comes after C, which is 11. And then we have G, which is greedy. So we have C, E, and G. And if we look at our alphabet, right, then it means that C comes first, E comes second, and then G comes last. So we have character that starts with a C, 11 that starts with an E, and G, greedy, that starts with a G. So that is how we put it in alphabetical order, right? Because in this case, we put the first word, or we put the words in order by first letter. And we use that alphabet to make it more easier. All right, so now we're going to put these words also in alphabetical order. We have unicorn, feed, and we have kangaroo. We have uniform, feed, and we have kangaroo. So we need to put it in alphabetical order, right? And if we look at the first letter of each of these words, then each of the letters or each of the words or the letters of the first word, the first letter of the word is different, which means that we are going to put the words in order by first letter. All right, so if we look at unicorn, unicorn starts with a U, right? So if we were to underline U, we underline U. Then we have feed. Feed starts with an F. And then we have kangaroo. And kangaroo starts with a K. Which means that if we look at these words or the letters that we've underlined, we have F, K, and then U, which means that F, feed starts with F. Then after F comes K, which means that it's kangaroo. And then after K comes U, which is unicorn. So we first, if we look at the alphabet, F comes before K, K comes before U. And to make it easier for us, we use our alphabet in order to underline the first letter of the word and to identify which letter comes before which. So now we also need to put the words in alphabetical order, right? And if we look at the first letters of each of these words, then we have I, E, and D, right? Which means that we need to put the first words in order by the first letters. So if we look at the word inside, inside starts with an I. So there we have I. Enjoy starts with an E. So there we have E. Daughter starts with a D. So there we have D. And if we look at the letters that comes first, right? Then it's first D, D for daughter. Then we have E for enjoy. And then we have I for inside. So if we put these words in alphabetical order, we can say it's first D for daughter. Then we have E for enjoy. And then we have I for inside. So basically, in order for us to put it in alphabetical order, right, we looked at or we basically used our alphabet. So daughter, enjoy, and inside. So that is in alphabetical order by putting the first word by the first letters. All right, so now we're going on to the test, all right, where we need to order alphabetically based on the first letters. So we need to put the words in alphabetical order. We have opposum or opposum. We have kite and we have win. Or do we have kite, opposum, and then win? Alphabetically, which one do we think is in the correct order? Option 1 or option 2? So we need to put this in alphabetical order by looking at the first letter. And if we look at the first letter, then yes, we can say the second option is correct, which is kite, opposum, and win. Yes, well done. 2 is correct. We need to put the words in alphabetical order. Is it order, game, reason, or game, order, reason? Alphabetically by looking at the first letter of each of the words. So order, game, reason, or game, order, reason. We need to put the words in alphabetical order by looking at the first letter of each word. And if we put the words in alphabetical order, we can go with the second option because G comes before O, O comes before R. And the second option is correct. We need to put the words in alphabetical order. Is it poppy, the vase, quite, or poppy, quite, vase? We need to put it in alphabetical order by looking at the first letter of each word. All right, so if we put that in alphabetical order, do we say poppy, vase, quite, or poppy, quite, vase? So we need to look at the first letter of each of those words. All right, then if we put those words in alphabetical order, then we can say it is P for puppy, Q for quite, and V for vase. So it's the second option. Well done. We need to put the words in order, alphabetical order. Kill or approach. So we have kill, order, approach or kill. And if we put that in alphabetical order, we're going to start with approach, which is A, then or, and then kill. So now we're going to order alphabetically based on the first two letters. So we have tough, remain, rules. So both remain and rules starts with an R. So for example, tough, remain, and rule. As you can see, both R for remain and R for Ruth is basically the first letter that is the same, right? But then we need to look at the second letter. So if we put these words in alphabetical order, we first gonna say it is R-E, then R-U. So remain, then rule, and then we have tough. So remain, rule, and tough. And as you can see, these two words starts with an R. So we need to look at the second option. So remember, we need to look at the second letter if the first letters are the same. Lick, lucky, land. So we see that if words, right, if the words they share the first letter, in this case, like lick, lucky, and land, they share the first letters of a specific word or specific words. And if we put that in order, right, then it means that we first going to start with the all of the all of it starts with an L. So if we have L-I, because we need to look at the second word, L-U-L-A. So if we look at the second letter, I, there we have I. So there we have I. Then we have lucky, which is U. And then we have land, which is A. So if we put that in order, A comes before I, and I comes before U, which means that we're going to say land first, then lick, and then lucky. All right. So remember to look at the second. We look at the second letter, right? And that will tell us if we are, or which one we need to put in, or in alphabetical order. All right, so now we're going to our test. So we need to put the words in alphabetical order. And as you can see, all three of these words start with a G. Right? So if it starts with a G, then we need to look at the second letter of that word. So we have groceries, give, gather, or is it gather, give, and then groceries? And if we put those words in alphabetical order, we can say it's give, gather, find groceries, which is GA, which means that the first letter is A. In this case, the second letter. Give is I, and grocery starts with an R. So we need to put these words in alphabetical order. So we put alphabetical order. Now we need to see which ones are first. So we need to put the words in order by looking at the second letter. And if we look at the second letter, then it's going to be gather, give, and groceries. All right. So if we need to put these words in order, right? So we have penny, party, heed, right? So heed comes first, then party, and then penny, right? All right, so that is now the end of our lesson on alphabetical order. And we said that alphabetical order is where we put these words in order of how it is alphabetically. And if we look at the first word, right? If the first letters of each, let's say each word, starts with the same letter, right? Then we look at the second letter. Then the second letter will either tell us which one needs to be in order. And if it either comes with two or more, right? So in order for us to know and to put things in alphabetical order, we also need to know our alphabet. All right, so this is the end of our lesson on alphabetical order. You must have a good day further. Goodbye.